to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. I have a treat. I know how much you guys adore when I have Judith Neary and Corey Klassen with me, our Design Biz live series that we do throughout the year. And I have another one today. And it's funny because Judith and Corey, what we always do is they always come up with topics that they're facing in their business, or that when they go to events and they're speaking and talking with other designers, the things that their colleagues are struggling. And so they powwow on it and they say, hey, Lou, how about we talk about this, this, or this? And they give me the bullet points and the learning lessons that they want to make sure that they bring out. And sometimes they give me several subjects and I pick one or two, or sometimes we just do all of them. And today they said to me, we really want to talk about the things that we learned from LuAnn Live. And so I'm grateful for them for suggesting this. And I was curious to see what their lessons were, and we have a nice conversation about it today. So I hope you enjoy it, and I do want you to know that LuAnn Live 2 will be coming in 2020, and just get on the email list so that you know what's happening in the podcast land, and you can do that by texting the word Design Biz, DESIGNBIZ, no caps, no spaces, to the number 444-999. Okay, so if you're on the email list, you'll know exactly what's happening and when it's happening so that you can be part of the next thing that we do here, whether it's a Power Talk Friday tour, which is happening this Saturday in real time in Las Vegas, or a Power Talk Friday tour that's coming up in High Point, October 2019. Or, of course, all the way to book launchings and other appearances and other workshops and things that we're doing here with the podcast, okay? So, and as a reminder, I want to send a huge thank you to Article.com for sponsoring the podcast. You know that Article.com has the trade division for you, their designer trade division, which is staffed by interior designers just like yourself. And I love that part about it. I keep telling it to you because I know how valuable it is to talk with people who understand what it's like when you have a furniture emergency. It's a real thing. I know it. You know it. And it's really awesome when the people that you're working with know it. But Article.com has so much to offer. Their mid-century Scandinavian inspired furniture, which they have for offices, living rooms, outdoor spaces, dining rooms, and accessories, okay? And keep in mind, when you take a look at my latest book, A Well-Designed Business, the Power Talk Friday Expert, that gorgeous chair on the cover is from Article.com, the Sven chair. And I have to say, that was so awesome. We also had 3 chairs at LuAnn Live on the stage that were also supplied by Article.com. 3 different, beautiful, gorgeous other #podcast green chairs. And so they're a great partner. They're a great partner for me. They're a great partner for you. All you have to do is go to welldesigned.article.com, open up your trade account, and see what kind of partner they can be for you in your interior design business. Okay, that's welldesigned.article.com. All righty, looking forward to sharing this program with you today with my friends Judith and Corey and their insights and ahas from LuAnn Live. It's about the conversation. I hope you enjoy it. Have an excellent day. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. It's Power Talk Friday, and it's also Design Biz Live. We are back. I am back with my crazy friends, Corey, Klassen, and Judith Neary. And it's been a couple of months since we've had an episode. And it's also a fun episode for us to do because if you were one of the 200 people that were with us at LuAnn Nigara Live, It's About the Conversation last March, you know that both Corey and Judith were designer panelists on different programs during the day. And they said to me, you know, we have this whole agenda of these 3 or 4 shows that we've got outlined coming up for Design Biz Live over the next several months. But they said, you know, we want to do a program on what we learned from LuAnn Nigara Live, It's About the Conversation. And that's a pretty significant thing because these 2 people, you know, that they have tons of experience in the interior design industry. And they were invited there as guest designer experts, but yet they both are telling me that they too learn things from all of the colleagues in the room. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So hi guys, how are ya?
Hi LuAnn.
Hi LuAnn. Nice to be back with you.
Yeah. So
thanks for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. So first of all, I mean, how much fun was that? I mean, let's just say how much fun was LuAnn Nigara Live?
Stunning. My face hurt for days, literally days. I mean, this is back in March. Here we are, June, July. The information, the experience is still with me. It's sustained me. It's kicked me in the ass. Oh, sorry, I couldn't say that. It's rocked my world. I have to tell you, probably one of the most telling things, and yes, Corey, I'll let you talk eventually, is Corey Klassen is almost as funny by himself as he is with me.
That's what you learned at LuAnn Live.
That's just one of the things. And then the other thing I learned is that everybody needs 2 Corys in their,
That's right.
in their lives.
That's right.
Yeah.
Corey, David Jenkins, right?
But hang on.
Hang on.
I'm the only Corey here right now.
That's
and
right. That's
just
right.
remember that E is extra. And I can't tell you, LuAnn, it really wiped me out. It takes a lot because I teach, I run this business, I do other stuff, I have a personal life, but when I came back, I was like, I'm done. I don't want to talk to anybody other than feeling like that on the really early hours of Monday morning. But the recovery period has been, actually, let's change that word. The implementation period. Or yeah, right? Because before it felt like we were incubating, and now it's like implement. And it was really powerful. So I really want to thank you for setting that up for everybody because
yes.
It's been outstanding. Just the connections with other like-minded individuals, whether they come from all different types of experiences, and then really, honestly, to meet you in person.
I know, we had not met before. I know, that was crazy. It's so funny because it, you know, obviously with social media and of course with our Zoom meetings for the last couple of years, but it is nice to make that actual human connection and meeting. And that was the same for me with so many of the designers that were there. I knew their names, I knew their faces from social or from emails and from different things, but to actually be there in person and to like just give everybody a hug and to really learn that other layer about their business, the conversations that we had with people and coming up and saying, you know, sharing personal stories, you know, it was really very powerful. The room I felt like was electric. I felt like, I've said this a couple of times, we were 200 people in a room and it felt like a lot of times we were 20 people in a room. It just felt like a conversation just around in a circle of all of us. And, you know, it's funny because I've said this too a couple of times on air in different places. When I set the program up and it was from 8 o'clock. Well, you guys met for 7 o'clock for breakfast, 7 o'clock in the morning until on program till 9:30 that night on Saturday. And then from 7 o'clock in the morning all the way to midnight. And of course, who are we kidding? We were all at the bar till 2 in the morning on Sunday. And then on Monday, 9 o'clock to 1 or 8 o'clock to 1, whatever it was. I mean, a lot of people who I respect really said, you can't do that. Like you cannot do that. You have to give people a chance to go back to their hotel room and rest and break and all of this. And I know that the next time I will build in some breaks, but not because people clamored for it, not because I got feedback that people said I couldn't handle it. We were engaged and we were together and we had an amazing time. The interaction with the panelists, the interaction with the audience. But I felt like the day was a minute. I mean, I just felt like it was like, wait, it's 9:30 already. You know, it's over. You know what I'm saying? And the conversations at the dinner and the luncheons and everything, and the questions. I don't know. I'm kind of rambling here because it is, to your point. It's 2.5, 3 months later, and it's still palpable, like that feeling that was there, right?
Well,
Yeah,
the energy hasn't left.
Right.
Okay. Again,
it hasn't left the room. We took it with us, just like those ghosts from where is that? Savannah? Yeah, Savannah. When you go to Savannah, you might have a ghost attached to you.
Come back with you.
LuAnn came back.
One of the things that was probably there are so many profound moments, and what I found really interesting as a tenured professional in the industry is that the amount of information, even though I might have heard it or I might know it, even new information, old information, it just was a reboot and a reinterest in my professional career. I can't thank you enough for that.
Oh, that's awesome.
On stage. But I also was very surprised when the other Corey got up and he made this statement about how the design industry has been disenfranchised. And that is very powerful because he gave you kudos for helping to reconnect the industry in a unified perspective. And I have to tell you, I agree with him completely. We are the most broken industry out there.
Well, we're fixing it, right? We're fixing it. Yeah.
And I think that brings us to such a very valid point. And if there was a moment that just was absolute, that's the clarity moment. I mean, we all feel that in our own businesses, that we are siloed. We can't help with this decision. We don't know how to make that decision. But the business side of our creative businesses it's really 80%, and that's kind of the fracturing that's happened, in that we have room for everybody, obviously. But just the simple basics of sales and business processes and structure and how do you what kind of accounting software are you using? How do you manage clients? How do you position yourself? How do you talk about yourself? It was like all this stuff because everybody does it so differently.
Right. That is the interesting part too, because I have, learned that through interviewing over 400 people on the podcast at this point. And there's no one way to do anything, and even when a specific business expert, a recognized expert, any one of my co-authors that are in the book with me, I revere each one of them for their superpower and their strength. This is why they were invited to participate in the book. And I know that each one of them has a very clear perspective on the way what they teach should be done. But we all know, and the coaches and the experts themselves also know, that we each have to process it to what works for us. So you can't cowboy it and completely ignore the principles and the strategies, the overarching principles and strategies that are the tenets and are the foundation of that expertise or that process. But there is room for saying, this is what you're supposed to do. This is the tried and true way, but this is how I tweak it in my business. And that's where the magic happens, because when you put 200 designers in a room and they can help each other and say, yeah, I know that didn't work for me either, but this is what worked. And then 3 others say, whoa, that's the little light bulb moment. And that was what was going on. It was really, really powerful, I thought. And
a lot
exciting.
of those aha moments, a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 5 takeaways.
Oh, okay.
I can list 5.
I love
I'm going to
this.
jump in here. My number 1, everyone needs a VIN man.
Oh, I know. I know.
Yeah.
It's so true.
We wish
I'm
that
like,
we all had a VIN man,
I know.
LuAnn. You were
I
so lucky.
Please.
I left and I'm
Every
like,
way.
where am I going to get a VIN? Got to have a VIN man. Okay. Corey, you got one?
Wait, and let me just say, let
Oh.
me just cut in here, okay? Because we're serious and we're laughing, right? But it is true. You do need a VIN man, and if you are not familiar, if this is news to you, what is a VIN man? Vin is my husband. He is a numbers expert. He is a finance expert. His degree is in accounting. His MBA is in business, whatever business degree it is in. But his undergrad is in accounting. And the thing is that you do need this anchor person in your life. Now, I happen to be married to this anchor person, this anchor finance person. But, if you're not, and you're not lucky enough to be married to a VIN man, or your partner, whether it's your business partner, it's not maybe your life partner, is not this finance anchor person, then, you got to hire that person. You got to find it. You got to find it in a mentor. You got to find it. I would love it to be more than a mentor. It needs to be somebody that is like, responsible to the business. Okay. Not, so in the beginning it might be through a mentor, but it definitely should be somebody that becomes ultimately responsible for answering to you and helping you and teaching you in the business. But, I think about, like, you have Kimberly Merlitti, who has been on the show. And she is somebody that she says you can hire her as your CFO. And you can meet with her every single month. It's no different than your client hires you. We all know interior designers that have clients that you do a project for them. I remember Candy Scott mentioning this on her episode. She said, I have clients that I've done big projects for, and that it just, they can go on for months and years with just a small amount of billable hours every month. It's sort of like, my designer on call every month. I'm doing a little sprucing, a little this, a little that. And so you can hire people like Kimberly Merlitti to be your CFO and meet with you and guide you and help you understand your finances enough to be responsible for overseeing them. Okay. That's clear too. We don't ever need to have mastery. I know, but I need to explain, because people are going to go, great, we need a VIN man, but how do I get one? So go ahead, Corey.
I think after LuAnn Live, I took a trip back home with my new guy to meet the family, blah, 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 all that kind of fun stuff. And I sat down with my nephew, and he's just turned 14. And, we were talking about grades, and I said, okay, you need to come visit Uncle Corey, blah, 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 right? You're of the age, it's time. We're going to show you, because he's interested in cooking. I said, I'll show you some cooking schools. We'll tour you around the city, right? You get to see kind of what's going on out there, because it's an award-winning school. And, when you're 18 or 19 and you're ready to move out, hey, I'll have a room for you, and we'll plan that and set it up. Let's talk about it now.
Right.
And I said, but, if there's one thing that I would have said to my 14-year-old self, was to pay attention to math. And it kind of comes full circle, because I took on, when I was going to design school, I kind of learned some tips and tricks in Microsoft Excel at the time, which is just spreadsheet knowledge. And I started to learn math that way as an adult. And it landed me in a analysis job, a business analyst job, while I was studying through design school. And I think for me, now when I look back, I'm like, oh, why do I have a spreadsheet for everything? Right? Why do I have the right spreadsheet? And yeah, I track vigilantly. I track the leads that come into my business. I track my profit compared to those leads, like what's the conversion ratio, what are the website hits, and where are the interactions. I do track those things. And I think from a profit standpoint or a business standpoint, one of the key areas that you're so lucky that you have your VIN man. But if I can shout out to Michelle Williams.
Oh, I know. Right.
For a moment, and her profit first method.
Yep.
I got to tell you, 7 years later, after running my business, I implemented Profit First, and I see the difference. So that's the difference between a linear mind and a creative mind, in that a linear mind can really see, they can visualize the numbers, whereas a creative mind, if you work both sides, you're lucky because you can actually see the artwork within the spreadsheet itself. But if you're just a creative mind, you need to implement strategies for yourself to help yourself better. And that's what that Profit First method is about. So really being able to hear your interaction with Vin and to see how it works, and then to kind of mesh that together with a conversation with Michelle was like, whoa.
Michelle's brilliant too. And she really is very, what I love about Michelle is she, it's so funny because we often talk about her superpower with the finances, but she is an all-around business coach. She is a dynamo, and she can really help in a lot of areas. And so, of course, I 110% recommend anybody that they could reach out and work with her as well. And it could be a one session, it could be an ongoing thing. But the bottom line is Judith, to your number one takeaway that everybody needs a VIN man. It's true, but you can hire a VIN man. You don't have to hunt around and try and marry him.
Good call, because I'm already married. So my number, might have an issue.
Now accepting applications for VIN man quality.
Oh my God, your poor husband. Okay, so my next one is Fred. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Even though he has not been on the show as many times as we have, just need to clarify that. Because when you mentioned that, and I'm looking at Corey, I'm like, I don't think that's right. We just got shoved under the bus there.
I know. I completely had that
I think
wrong.
we're in a separate city or category or
Corey and I are in our own special category.
That's right. You are. You totally are. The short bus.
Or in some cases, no bus at all. So the thing I really admired about Fred, and my takeaway with Fred, is he had this comment about reintroduce yourself to your clients. I thought that was fabulous, because so many times as we get into our routine and to our rut, and we have kind of our standard sell, we really should probably look at someone like have Fred take a look at us from the outside and rewrite our story for us. I thought that was pretty impressive, because I have a standard bio, Corey's got a bio. I mean, but having someone else look at it from a perspective of not only a marketing technique, but a design perspective, I thought that was really brilliant, because he rewrote one of the designer's bios just off the cuff, and it was fabulous.
Right. He is very brilliant at copy and also helping you figure out what your little it factor is. And I want to share two stories. Neither of these podcasts are on the air as the time we're speaking, okay? But interestingly, I just interviewed somebody this week who has been in business 19 years. The conversation did not come from having anything to do with Fred Burns, but she is experiencing a very difficult season in her business right now as we speak. And sales are her gross revenue is dramatically off. And so I said to her, what are some of the things that you are doing in order to overcome this? And she said, one of the things that my coach suggested that I do is recontact my client base. And so she said, and so I have been doing that. She goes, I've been calling them up or texting. She said she's been texting them and emailing them, and her client base, you'll hear the show when it comes up, but her client base, a lot of the women in the couples that she services are not working women. These couples are usually hedge fund guys and so forth like that, so the women don't work. And she said, because I said to her, I said, okay, so I know, in my brain, I know Fred Burns tells us to do this, but I know when Fred tells us to do this, I know for a fact a lot of designers say, I'm just not going to call up my old clients. That's crazy. Like, that's too awkward. That's funny. So I said to her, I said, your coach has asked you to do this. Have you done it? And she said, yes. I said, so you've picked up the phone and called. And she said, well, I would say I've texted them or emailed them. And she said, but, that's when she explained how a lot of her clients are not working women. They might have been professional women, but now they're not. And she said, they're happy to have lunch. And she said, and a couple of times, we've gotten together, we've had coffee or breakfast or lunch, and they'll say, oh yeah, we're building a house in the Hamptons. We're planning to call you in, 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever. And so she said that it is getting overdoing it. You just have to get over it. But what I absolutely know to be true is your fastest, surest way to putting money in your pocket with the highest potential for ROI is your existing client base. They already know, like, and love you. It's an overused sentence, but it's true. Sell more things to the same people.
And I just want to give context to that because I just opened up a spreadsheet while you were talking. Because I track everything. So I've tracked everything from 2014 to 2019, where my leads have come from, how they've come to me, and 35% of my leads are referrals. So I think that's really, really powerful because if I look at now, if I were to drill down a little bit further, which type of client turns into which type of prospect turns into a successful client, it is referral.
Right.
There is a 90 to 95% close ratio on that. And if you don't know what that means,
we have other problems.
We have other problems. But if I were to just kind of air some dirty laundry, just to reemphasize that podcast.
Again?
It's hanging outside. That podcast that's coming up, I will say that I identify with that particular issue. I too have seen a substantial decrease in the last 8 months. We're talking 60 to 70%. I don't have the overall numbers exactly, but I see a lot of red, which puts me into a totally different type of issue. But what I have done as well is, in addition to sending out, I started an email campaign. It was kind of a soft and gentle, say, hey, guess what's changed over at Corey, Klassen Interior Design? And then, hey, guess what? I have some new services because I started different types of services. And then say, hey, guess what? I did some e-design as well. And so I can help anybody that you know that's across the country. So it's really about communicating to them that you have these options available to you, or you have different ways of working with a prospect or a potential client. And yeah, there's been an uptick, but my issue is kind of tied to my market, which has had 7 new taxes and money laundering scandals and all sorts of different big fancy real estate problems, like pre-sales not going through and all kinds of crazy stuff.
So one of the comments that Fred made, and I believe he says bold, persistent, consistent.
Yes.
And so that ties into that. So that was pretty amazing. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I love it.
Messaging is definitely a key. So I love that he said something like that, and being able to go, whoa.
Right.
How am I being bold? How am I being persistent? How am I being consistent?
Absolutely.
So here's my next one. Okay. I kept the brochure.
Wow.
Got the brochure, loved it, because I go back and check it, everything, right?
She looks at her picture.
Yes. Yes, here I am right here, right down here. Oh, right next to Taylor.
Aren't we all in love with Taylor?
Talk about girl crush, right?
Oh, it's like, she's hilarious.
I know. Hilarious. Taylor Spellman. We're all talking about Taylor Spellman if you weren't there. She's adorable. She is adorable.
But what I found really interesting and
right next to Taylor.
Well, it took me like 2 days to get across the room to even say hi to her, and it was really funny. But what first of all, it was very intimidating for me because all of the people in the room are more people than I would see in an entire month where I live. Right. Okay. And I really enjoyed being back in front of people in public, and instead of just talking to my laptop with Corey and you in the screen. But what I found very interesting is through interaction with the participants in the audience and in hearing the speakers on stage, is that so many people have launched their specialty, their business, their interest, and it's all come out of some diversity. And by not diversity, how should I say it?
Adversity.
Adversity, correct.
I knew what you meant. Yep.
Some adversity that it's propelled them forward to rethink their lives, to rethink how they do things, to focus on what they want to do, and to leverage their zone of genius.
Right.
And I found that really amazing to see that current consistent throughout everyone in the room.
Yeah.
Is that where we say the riches are in the niches?
Yes.
Sorry, that's how we say niche. You say niche.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an interesting way of looking at things as well. So I even though I specialize in kitchens and bathrooms, that doesn't mean that I'm limited to cross the tile, right, over onto the carpet, right, Judith? And I'm not. I think that makes you leverage your specialty as a expertise to be able to cross over.
Right.
It's not something to be afraid of. There's design skill in everything that we do as specialized businesses, but I think what's really important is to kind of be receptive to crossing over and saying, yeah, I can do, for me, for example, sure, I can do it's bathroom season, by the way. So we're doing a ton of bathrooms lately. I think it's like, I'm at 15 now, which is ridiculous. So yeah, sure, I can do your bathroom, but hey, I can do window coverings. I can get you towels. I can, right? It's those add-on little sales and techniques, which were really cool. So that's where that niche area blossomed in my mind to say, hey, it's not just hard surfaces.
Right.
You know, it's the soft stuff too, which you can bundle in.
It's a frickin' pillow job.
It's a
pillow jobs.
So here's my other takeaway. Yeah, that just killed me. Okay.
I'm stroking things off my list as you say them. Pillow jobs. I know.
Pillow jobs. So I don't do pillow jobs. And as I'm on the stage, and having the conversation, which thank you very much for partnering me with the team that I had. And so I get these 20 text messages from a homeowner who I took care of their kitchen remodel, and they've bought a home and they need help with pillows. And I died because my zone of genius is kitchen and bath.
Right.
Okay? Yes, I know the soft good or the other side of the business, but I was not prepared to do a pillow job, and I pretty much freaked out. And yes, I could do the pillow job, but I have to tell you, a shout out to my Doma.
Yeah.
Because intuitively, I know at this point in my life how to do kitchen and bath. I know all the pitfalls. I know how to manage it. I have my partners, but now all of a sudden I am out of my zone of comfort. And clearly I'm like, yes, I can do it, but I'm like, crap. I got to figure out how to do it, and freaking pillows everywhere. And with Sarah, those tools are in place so that you can do jobs that are outside of your zone of genius, because those systems are in place that give you those checks and balances so that you can process and move forward, even though it's out of your comfort zone. So as new designers, #baby designers, that is something that program, I mean, shame on me for not embracing it years ago.
Well, I have to tell you, and there's so many things that have happened with my Doma Studio in the last, even since LuAnn Live, that now they have QuickBooks integration with my Doma Studio. It's just, Sarah and her team are just making this program better and better and better. The designers, one of the things that's really the hot button now is so many interior designers are creating their packages within the My Doma Studio and selling them through My Doma Studio. And the thing is about this, there's multiple things that I love about this. First of all, from a strictly business standpoint, the very act of creating a package to sell forces you to do what? It forces you to get very clear on what you will do and what you will not do.
Yep.
It forces you to get very clear on what you are going to deliver, how you are going to deliver it, and what the return or the expected result is for that client on that. So I'm going to tell you what, if you built packages on Mydoma and never sold them, it would be worth your time to do it, because it creates the clarity for you in order to sell, right? I know, singing.
I'm going to the Church of LuAnn
right. So, and I'm not done, right? I'm still here preaching. Okay. No, and then the other, so I really have to say that the very act of creating that package, that process, creates such clarity for you as a business person. The second thing that happens is, because you sell it through Mydoma, you don't have to call your webmaster and say, hey, how many thousands of dollars to put a cart system on my website? Right? Like, I have a cart system. I can't tell you how many times in a week I think, could I just run the podcast through Mydoma? I wonder if that would work. You know what I'm saying? Right? Like, you know what I mean? Just like somebody that, like you said, flags me. You did this, what's the next step? You did this, what's the next step? That would be so freeing, okay? And so, wait, one more thing I want to say about it. Here's the other thing that I want to say about the packages through Mydoma is, I have learned from being at live events, whether it's mine or at High Point or this or that there is a perception that package selling is not for the mid-level or upper-level interior designer, that it is for the entry-level interior designer. There is a misconception. There is a perception that it is something that a inexperienced or a baby designer might quote unquote hide behind in order to, instead of saying, well, it's $200 for a paint consult, it's on my website, you can do it there, and it's a soft sell and I don't have to do it. No, ma'am, because here's the thing. I know for a fact, Sarah Lynn Brennan Interiors, this woman is doing her entire luxury design firm through packages on Mydoma Studio. You can buy a $6,000, full service interior design package. You can buy an $8,000 this, a $3,000 that, all the way to the $250 consult for just a window treatment or just a paint consult. And now, because she is luxury, you don't get to buy any of those packages without having a discovery call with her first. She's still going to manage the process from the beginning and take it all the way and then help guide you to where you need it to be. But she has completely clarified and taken all of the gray out. And you know what that is? That's for you as a business owner, that's a slam dunk. But for me as a consumer, I don't like enter into a world of a contract with you and think, what am I getting anyway? It's all right there in the package.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump on my soapbox for a second.
Good.
You are talking about something that maybe I can contextualize a little bit for the interior design industry. It is changing. It has changed because of smartphones, because of technology, because of pay-per-use services, because of software as a service. The industry has changed. If you are not going to move along with it, you can definitely look at the road and see that stop sign. That's your choice. Absolutely.
Good for you, Corey. Great analogy.
And I want to really clarify one thing about packages, because it has definitely been a transformative change for my business. That's a big word to use, because the packages really break down for me into two things. It's more like a way to get this look. So you can, if you're wondering how packages can apply to you, you can use a existing project that you have all the finishes and materials already specified for, and you can sell that look. And this is what's called horizontal revenue, or vertical, or horizontal revenue, or what was the word? It's gone. But there's another way to do packages, and that's through service packages as well. So doing the most common type of client that I used to push away was someone that I couldn't fit into my full service model.
Right.
With a package, I can say, you need a designer for a day. That's really all that you need. So I look at it as additional revenue
Right.
using my expertise and skills for about 2 days worth of work. And when you have a gap in your schedule and you're waiting for a client decision, or you're waiting for supplies and materials to come in, and you don't really have anything on your desk to do at that moment, for the baby designer, that's a huge push or a huge lift to your revenue. These are
Right.
good words to use. A lift to your revenue for a small amount of time. And you have to price that out your own way. But using blocks of hours, for example, I'm able to go through a project discovery call and say to a client, well, you've seen my designer concierge services. That's what I call them. Trademark. And you see that I've got blocks of hours available to you. You've got 20, 30, or 40. And if you're talking about a full service project, you can expect to see at least 3 times that.
Right.
So it what it does is it's a sales tool or a price tool for a designer or a business owner, that even if you don't ever sell one,
Right. Right.
it helps your client understand what type of services you can offer and what those price points are going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is the most amazing. I know.
Take a deep breath. Okay.
Get that all out.
My turn to talk.
It's so inspiring to see everybody starting to implement these things. So it's really, really cool.
Okay. Last one, because I really want to get to 5 fatal errors. If we can today, would really like to do that. So last one is, and a bit of a shout out to Claire Jefford, because she is like the video queen, in her, in her experience, or in her marketing and her experience within the industry. One of the things I found very interesting, and it never even occurred to me, just not on my radar, is to do a video of your bio and of you working. So people there's, great, I have a professional headshot on my website, it's everywhere, but the reality is, this is what I look like, this is how I work, this is the down and dirty of it. So I thought that was really interesting to bring that forward, and because it just was not even on my radar to think about that. And I have such a unique, everyone has unique experiences, but my specialty is doing weird really well. And in this experience, I've started looking at my projects differently and the conversations that I have with the homeowners a little differently, and maybe how can I leverage that into a piece about myself and how I do business. So I thought that was a very interesting takeaway.
Right. I like that. And what it does is for you, because you're saying I do weird really well, in order for you to have a little video, 1-2 minutes, where you talk about what it is that, you're funny and you do weird really well. In other words, it calls out to the potential client the people who are going to resonate with you. Whereas to look at your picture and your bio, it really doesn't give you the full Judith experience.
No, it doesn't.
No. So we only want people that pick up the phone, that really want the full Judith experience. The rest of them can stay home.
Well, I found that very interesting, particularly as a new designer. Again, looking at it from an experienced or seasoned designer, and then looking at it from a perspective of I'm starting out. How do I add credibility to my skill sets? Really amazing. That was amazing. Great takeaway.
Yeah, I agree. Because you could be, your bio could say that you started business 2 years ago, but the conversation and the way you handle yourself could be like, wow, that's really polished and sophisticated and, poised, and that person could handle a project for me. I'm sure of it. And you might be able to, you can express that sometimes better by talking than words.
Correct. But, be careful. Don't spend a whole 10-minute video feed on talking about tossed pillows. Okay. Just
don't do it.
Don't do it.
I think you recently had a podcast, LuAnn, and because there's so many, they get confused up here.
Believe me.
But you're right. But I think there was something that was said like, how did you get so successful so quickly? and they said, I listened to your podcast, and every single time I learned something, I applied it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's been really quite interesting, because that's what LuAnn Live was really about. It was the kind of this big mountain to climb, and girl, you climbed it. It was really, really cool.
It was fun. It was fun. I like, I had a vision for the way the day would be. I had a vision for the way the energy would be. I had a vision for, I could just see it. I could just see the smiles. I could just feel it. And did I know it would happen that way? No, but I could see it. It was tangible for me, the way it would be and the way I wanted it to be different than other industry events. And there is a place for every industry event that we have. I would never want someone else's conference to switch gears and be more like this. And I would, because there's a need for the way each of our conferences run. You know what I'm saying? And I just looked at what are the things that I wish were in a conference? How do I want it to feel? I want to feel connected. I want to feel like, and the biggest thing, and I said this a lot in the days and weeks and months leading up to the event when people were deciding whether they should attend or not. I've been around the block a few times, and I've been to my share of conferences, both in the window treatment industry, in the design industry, and, all kinds of things, sales industries, podcast industry. And you always have moments where you connect with people. You always have that. Maybe it's, sitting at lunch and on a break where you just meet somebody and you start a conversation, or it's at the cocktail bar afterwards. Okay. There's no question that I've never been to any event where I didn't have moments or hours where a connection was made. But I thought, can't we have that the whole time? Can't we just be in it together the whole time?
And you did it.
And we were.
You did it.
It was so cool.
I got to tell you that there were a couple of people that I've other designers that we now text message with back and forth. We're on Messenger back and forth. And one was, I'm going to shout out to her because I think she's just so adorable and so amazing. It's Lisa Gilmore.
Oh, what a sweetie. And she shared such a personal story, right?
Yeah, her Eat, Pray, Love.
Oh, I just got goosebumps.
I know. And I think what really struck me is she actually came, she has a, I guess she's dating somebody over here or seeing some, not my business, right? I don't think about it. But she's come to Vancouver for visits, and we have collided. Like the last time she was out, we went for a big bike ride around the seawall, and then we went for beers after.
Wow.
So
wait, and you only met her at LuAnn Live, and you've already met in... Whoa. Yep. Does she live near there?
She was in Florida.
That's what I was going to say. She doesn't live near Vancouver. That's amazing. Yeah. Oh my God. I love that. And I said that going in. You are, number one, if you're introverted and you don't know a lot of people, you do not have to feel intimidated to come to this event, because I am going to be in that room all day long. And if I'm in that room, you're not alone. And if it's not me that's going to make you feel welcome, it's going to be somebody else. And the other thing I said is, I promise you, if you are intentional, you will leave with friends that are your friends. Right? You had to do that part yourself. I couldn't go around and make the friends for you. You know what I'm saying? But if you wanted to, you were going to be able to. And that's so exciting. I can't even stand it.
It was just kind of cool because not only is, you can't miss her red hair, but it was just really great to see, because there's a bit of a generation gap between us, and it was really great to hear what she's implementing and what she's doing. And she asked a couple of questions like, have you had this experience before? I'm like, oh, right. So you're able to have that. Yeah, right. Here's your beer. Let's go.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so exciting. I'm so happy. I really am. And I do want to say too, look, I'm not, we did the autopsy on LuAnn Live, just like I encourage everybody to do the autopsy on every project, okay, that they execute through their firm. And, there will be changes. I will just say it out loud. I did not love the way it was me executed VIP day. I certainly loved the surprise VIP guest of Lori Weitzner. Was that amazing?
Yes,
Okay.
she was spectacular.
Oh my God. And you should have seen, I think there were 3 people that knew she was coming. And I had the Pollock Weitzner team, I guess about, I don't know, 6 weeks before. They're like, we don't see Lori in your promotion. I'm like, she's a surprise. Don't you open your mouth. And so, but that morning, I tell you, the agita that Christy and Kimberly experienced with the way VIP Day was going. And if you had a great experience on VIP Day, yay for you. And of course, there were amazing conversations that came and happened at VIP Day. But it was not executed to the way I want it executed. It needs to be locked down a little bit better than that. And it will be for the next time without question. And we've had suggestions. People have said, I would tell you that we did a survey the very next day, and such a high number of people filled out the survey, which is so encouraging and so exciting. And I was so grateful for the 10s, 10, 10, 10, 10, love, 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 love. But, you're looking for the ones that are say, but. Mm-hmm. Yay, but. And so the yay, buts, we paid very close attention to. And fortunately, the buts were little. And they were easy for me to look and say, I share your butt on that one. That's a butt for me too. I couldn't.
Why are we talking about everybody's butts?
But I guess what it was is that I was very happy to know that the half a dozen or so people that shared a constructive critique, there was no surprise for me. I didn't go, really? You thought so? I was like, I'm with you on that. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to it being everything it was and more and better and more,
Mm-hmm. Well, I just have one question. Can we come back next year?
Well, of course. I don't know that you can be presenters, but because we have to share the love, but you better be back.
And there's a bit of a time change difference here, so I would like to, go for a tour the day before this all happens, just to kind of get.
Because we so want to see New Jersey.
Yeah. Well, excuse me, you are going to get a fight on your hands if you denigrate New Jersey, and I can bring it.
Yeah, kind of intimidated and scared about that.
That's it. We got beautiful beaches. We got the best beaches ever. We have pine lands. We have gardens. We have, crops. We have Jersey City and Hoboken. Come on.
Well, I'll just have to wait till the time of the year that it actually showcases that.
This is true.
I have one more, if we can.
Really you're cut off. We're done with you.
No, I'm going to say it. It was really great to see that because in Canada, we don't necessarily see this. It was really great to see other interior design professionals that came from a experience background and not a education background, and to see how they're making changes and progress and building their businesses. And it was really empowering for me to see that. I'm like, wow, okay, I get to rely on my education, and they don't have that, but they got the business skills,
right?
And I don't have that part, maybe, right? So it was really cool to see a lot more presence of that.
Right. Oh yeah. I would say it's, my God, the percentage is so high now of design professionals that are very successful that do not have a formal education. It's just not as, if you have it, great, all the power to you, but it's certainly not the differentiator. The differentiator is your business skill. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean? It's like, who was I talking about recently that I said to them, it'll come to me in a minute maybe, but I said to them, I was talking about getting together a panel, and I said, it's Lori Umansky. And Lori Mansky may be a degreed interior designer. I don't have the slightest idea, but this is my definition of Lori Mansky. Lori Mansky is a business person that runs an interior design firm. And that's the truth. You know what I mean? And it's the same with Sandra Funk. Sandra Funk is a business person that runs an interior design firm. And if you can do that, whether you have that education or not, whatever, so it's interesting to see the success and the people coming up that are figuring it out any which way, the school of hard knocks, the school of experience, the school of apprenticeship, whatever it may be, so.
And if you can't see us and you're just listening, we're both, Judith and I are both nodding our heads.
Yeah, so this is a video show too. If you're listening by audio, it'll be up on the YouTube channel. So, okay, so that's the things that we learned from LuAnn Nigara Live, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta say, what did I learn at LuAnn Nigara Live?
Please share.
Okay, yeah.
Right. I learned that the love is strong and deep for my colleagues in this industry. I learned that I love how skilled people are, how smart people are, how willing people are to share, and how good-natured and giving they are. And I also know this is not a huge thing, but I do know that it was difficult to be in the room for all those hours each day. I have learned how many people are introverted in this industry. And unlike me, who, as you might have noticed, I'm kind of extroverted. I'm not sure.
Really?
Sure.
Yeah. You make us look beige.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is that I have compassion, because when I am whether I'm an inch tired or I am, 20 yards tired, as soon as I'm with people, it's like somebody plugged me in. It's ba-bump, and it's like I can go. And I saw that. I've known that about myself, but I saw that so clearly. To be on stage for 12 and a half hours on Saturday with complete conversation in between every break. And I mean, wasn't like, okay, I'm not on stage and I'm sitting here in the green room in between. When I wasn't on stage, people were coming up to me and talking in between the sessions, right? And the thing is, when I got back to my hotel room and I sat down, I was like, whoa. I'm like, pour me a glass of wine, Vin, because I am shot. But not one time during the day. But the thing is, what I learned about that, okay, is I learned that I have compassion for so many who are introverts that stuck it out, because I know that an introvert, where me, I get gas from being with people, introverts get their gas from the downtime and the closing off and the self-preservation. So my appreciation for everybody that felt like they didn't want to leave the room and they didn't want to miss the next panel is so huge and so great. And I will build in some breaks for the next event. I can't build in a lot because that energy really needs to be sustained, but I'm cognizant of that. And so that was like a little, when you learn something. So for me, I'm a Libra. I can't ever look at one side. So when I had such a deep learning of, whoa, man, you really do just get plugged in by people. Like you just do. And then it was like, whoa, how many people here are depleted by this much energy? And then the appreciation came for the staying with it and wanting to be there. And that I attribute to all of you. All of you, the co-authors, and you guys as panelists, who just brought such amazing information that we were all compelled to just stay and be there and enjoy it. And so I learned that we have an amazing community and tribe of people. I learned that my co-authors are some of the best people on the planet. I learned that I can rely on all of the designers that I've ever interviewed to always step up and deliver and share what their challenges are, their solutions are, and and all of my guests and attendees and listeners that came and traveled from 17 states and 3 Canadian provinces to be with us. I mean, come on, that's crazy. So I love
Just
it.
7?
17 states.
Yeah.
7 Canadian provinces or 3?
Three.
Oh, well, we need to get that to the 10.
I know.
Come on, people.
How many provinces are there? I don't even know.
So my
10
closing
provinces and 2
takeaway to wrap this up is you can be a cop and listen to a single LuAnn Nigara episode podcast and decide to become an interior designer. So a shout out to Darla Powell for that.
That's the truth. That's the truth. That's the truth.
That was awesome.
Had you not known that story about Darla?
No.
Oh my God. No, Darla was a Miami-Dade police officer. This is not a cop in Podunk here.
No.
You know what I'm saying? This is like a big city cop, okay? Yeah. A sergeant or a detective. I don't know what she was, but not like, a desk cop.
One podcast with you.
No. She listened to it for like 6 or 8 months or a year.
Oh, so she might have been pulling my chain a little bit.
No. She was listening and listening and listening and listening. And then she just came back and she looked at Natalie and she said, I can do this. I have learned a lot from this podcast. I can do this. And she did it.
Yeah. I gotta say,
so don't be a bad client for her, because that's just not a designer you want to piss off. Okay.
I have a mad crush on Darla and Natalie.
I know, aren't they so
at a very big distance, but those wingnuts that they're
Wingnut Social,
meeting with, I didn't I meet a lot of people in my history and my travels, and they were just like a moment where I was like, oh, you could feel it. I could feel it. I was like, I want to put them in my bag and take them.
I know. Well, you should have seen the moment that I realized that I should ask them to be the MCs. I was just like, oh my God, that's brilliant. That's amazing. They are so lovable and they are so good together, and they are going to, because it's not easy to be an MC. I am also not the person that's giving you a 16 tons of direction. I'm a helicopter lady. I'm like, look, this is your job. You're the MC. Figure it out. And they must have said to me 20 times, what exactly you want us to do? I'm like, I want you to talk in between sessions. They're like, what do you want us to say? I'm like, I don't care. Say what you want. And they're like, are we going to get everybody's bios? I'm like, oh, for crying out loud. Somebody email them the bios. You know what I mean? Like I am just like, come on, just figure it out. You got this. But I knew that they would. You know what I'm saying? I knew that they would. And they're just so lovable and likable. And I just, two of my favorite people. And so if you're not sure who we're talking about, Darla Powell is an interior designer in Miami, Florida, and her firm is called Darla Powell Interiors. But also her and her wife, Natalie, they have a podcast and a business called Wingnut Social, and they specialize in social media for interior designers. And the other fun fact is that Natalie is a fire professional. She's a firewoman. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's just like you look at them and like,
like I said, if you're a client, don't
threatening jobs.
If you're a client, don't piss them off.
That's it, right? And they're just so lovable. Anyway, all righty, guys. Well, I thank you so much for sharing the things that you learned at LuAnn Nigara Live. It's about the conversation. And, if you're listening, there is going to be another one. The date is not set yet, but I will tell you that it's going to be fall of 2020. Of course, I'm going to avoid High Point, but it is going to be fall of 2020. So if you need to put your, make a little fund, a little budget for travel and expenses and ticket price, start squirreling away now, because, sometime probably in the early spring, we will have the details and be able to open the registration and let you know where it's going to be and what we're going to do. It's undecided at this point if I'm going to do it again in New Jersey or not. I will eventually, it will travel around the country. So even if I do New Jersey next time, that will be just for my convenience. That will be so that my team is able to better execute it. It's going to depend on a lot of variables for me, but whether the next one is in New Jersey or not, 3, LuAnn Nigara Live, it's about the conversation. Year 3 will definitely travel outward outside of the dirty Jersey. So, all righty.
I've already started my LuAnn bank account.
That's it. Get it going so you can come and you don't have to worry about not having the money put aside for your travel and your hotel and your day trip to New York City and the Jersey Shore. All righty, guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at LuAnnNigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.